Hey, what's up guys? So in this video, we're going to be taking a look at a dash cam that specializes in helping you capture details like license plates. This is the recently upgraded Cansonic UltraDash Z3 Plus Standard Edition. On one side of the dash cam, you've got your standard ultra-wide lens, which is going to work just like any dash cam. This is the dash cam that you're going to rely on 90% of the time. So in case of an accident, for example, you've got the video footage to prove who was at fault, that maybe the other driver ran a red light, for example, etc. Additionally, because dash cams with wide-angle lenses can often struggle to capture small details such as faces or license plates, on the other side of the dash cam it also features a second telephoto lens. And this can be especially useful in cases like hit and runs, for example, because that second telephoto is going to help you zoom in and capture license plates. Now, if you haven't done so already, before watching this video, I definitely recommend checking out the video of the original version of this dash cam, the Z3. In that video, we take a look at a bunch of different use cases of how having a dash cam with a second telephoto lens like this can be useful. We explore a variety of different ways of how people have been adding telephotos to their car. And then, of course, we go over the UltraDash Z3 itself, which I like primarily as a dash cam if you want something just kind of plug and play and off the shelf to stick on the windshield and get that added telephoto lens. And then once you've watched the original video and you're familiar with the basics, in this video, we're going to go ahead and start taking a look at this upgraded model, the Z3 Plus. This helps to improve upon some of the issues and limitations I found on the original version, plus it adds some additional features that the first one didn't have, which makes this newer version here, I think, a better option. And so with that said, let's go ahead and go over this upgraded unit, the Cansonic UltraDash Z3 Plus. So at first glance, the design of this upgraded dash cam looks very similar to the original version. It's still got a pair of front-facing dash cams, one wide angle and a second telephoto. The color of the dash cam has changed. It's a little more blue now instead of green. The dash cam's lens configuration is the same with dual front-facing dash cams, one wide angle and a second telephoto. But the key changes here are actually going to be what lies under the hood. The image sensors have now been upgraded with this new model. The resolution has gone up, which is going to help the dash cam actually capture more detail. It adds compatibility for things like a third rear-facing dash cam if you want, well, a dash cam that can record back behind you. They've added Wi-Fi to the dash cam, they've improved the UI, etc. And so to start off with the improvements, we'll begin first with the image sensors. Cansonic has upgraded the image sensors themselves from 1080p sensors to 1440p sensors. And I found that taking a look at some sample footage in the daytime, this upgraded model seems to have better video quality and clarity compared to what I saw previously with the 1080p version. And then taking a look at some nighttime footage, while this newer version is still relying on Sony Starvis sensors like before, they're not using Starvis 2 or anything. Either way, traditionally Sony Starvis sensors tend to be pretty good at night. One of the main issues that I find is that with the longer exposures that are needed at night, we tend to have more motion blur going on, which can make it harder to actually capture details, such as license plates of cars that go by. And this is a good example of how sometimes having that second telephoto lens can help you capture the license plate because oftentimes you may find there's going to be less relative motion across the frame with the telephoto compared to the wide angle. And then as far as the biggest improvement in terms of nighttime footage, that actually seems to come from the HDR capabilities here with this dash cam. It seems to work better than it did on the previous version, which definitely helps with capturing license plates. And I'll go into more information about that here in just a minute. Now, when you go look online, you're going to see two different versions of this UltraDash Z3 Plus. The other one is going to be the commercial edition, and that one actually swaps out that telephoto lens for a second interior-facing wide-angle lens. It adds some infrared LEDs, and it's designed for like rideshare drivers, for example, to help light up the inside of the cabin. The Z3 Plus Standard Edition is the one that we're looking at here in this video. Now, if you really want your dash cam to capture the rear, you can always take the telephoto lens and flip it around backwards like this and point it out the back of the car. And while you can do that, it's not going to be optimal because things like the headrests in your car or other people in your car are going to be obscuring the visibility behind you. Not to mention, you're obviously going to be losing that telephoto lens's capability from capturing license plates pointing ahead the way it was designed. And so for that reason, if you really want a dash cam that can record back behind you, Cansonic has also released the new R1 dash cam. This is also a 2K dash cam with the exact same Sony Starvis IMX335 sensor that's used in the two primary front-facing dash cams. However, this one has a wide 160-degree viewing angle. It's designed to record back behind you. Plus, because the dash cam actually has a waterproof housing, there's two different places where you can mount the rear dash cam. You can either mount it on the rear window like you would for a traditional rear-facing dash cam. However, let's say you've got maybe really dark tint on the rear window, which is going to make it harder for the dash cam to record what's going on, especially at night. To work around that, well, you could take this dash cam and actually mount it on the outside of the car, say near like the rear license plate area. You then just run this short little cable into the car, and then there's a quick release connector right here with an extension cable that's going to run all the way back to the main front-facing dash cam. And it's for this optional rear-facing dash cam that they've added this additional USB Type-C port here. at the top of the front dash cam. And so the dash cam itself comes with the 2 front-facing cameras, and then you've got the option to add that third rear-facing dash cam if you like. Next, moving on to the HDR capability. This is built into the dash cam and is activated all the time, day or night. HDR is active on both the wide angle and the telephoto lens, and if you get it with the optional rear-facing dash cam, you've got HDR back behind as well. And in practice, I think that their implementation's okay, and mostly beneficial at night. And the reason I say that is taking a look at some sample footage driving around in the daytime, I honestly don't notice all that much. I still find things like blown highlights, for example, whether it's the bright sky or maybe the sun shining directly onto a license plate. But at night, I found that it can be helpful to record reflective license plates when your headlights are shining directly on them. Additionally, I've also found it to be helpful for the rear dash cam as well. You see, right now I've also got a ThinkWare U3000 installed in my car, and for its rear dash cam, it's actually using the exact same Sony Starvis IMX335 sensor that the Z3 Plus is using. However, the ThinkWare option does not have HDR like the Cansonic one does. And when I take a look at some sample footage coming out of both dash cams, I find that the Z3 Plus with the HDR capability seems to help actually cut through headlight glare at night and do a better job of helping me make out individual cars and thus get a general idea of what all's going on back behind me. That said, the image processing is also different between the different manufacturers. I find that ThinkWare, for example, has less noise in their rear video. Plus, it does a better job with avoiding the rear dash cam, actually turning the video footage kind of pinkish or purplish at times when it's really struggling to capture at night when it's really dark through the rear tint of my car. And so while yes, of course, there's many different things that we can take a look at, with the HDR capability specifically here with the Z3 Plus, again, I find it can be helpful for not just things like license plate capture, but also just getting a better idea of what's going on behind you, especially when you've got a bunch of cars back there with headlights shining at you. Next, let's take a look at the Wi-Fi capabilities. This is a feature that's actually new here for the Z3 Plus. It wasn't available on the original Z3. And Cansonic has an app available for both Android and for iOS. And using this app is going to let you do things like change the different settings in the dash cam. You can live preview the dash cam's view looking at your phone, which I find to be especially helpful when I'm installing and aiming the rear dash cam. And then, of course, you can use your phone to watch any of the footage that was saved on the dash cam's memory card while you were driving around, and then transfer that video footage to your phone to save it yourself or share it with others. Now, in practice, I find that the app is okay. It does the job, but it's not particularly great. For example, the pairing process to get your phone paired with the dashcam's Wi-Fi hotspot is a little wonky. Plus, the file transfer speeds are a little bit slow as well. The dashcam only has 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi. It doesn't offer the faster 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi option, the way we see with a lot of newer cameras. And so for that reason, when you're doing any sort of video transfers from the dashcam to your phone, they are going to be slower than they otherwise could be. Either way, though, I think that having a dashcam with Wi-Fi capabilities is definitely better than not having it at all, which is what was the case with the previous version. Next, let's take a look at the dashcam's parking recording capabilities. Now, the previous Z3 also had parking recording available too, but I kind of skipped over that because the focus of that video was more on the telephoto component. But with the Z3 Plus, of course, it also has parking recording capabilities, and they're actually adding a new feature that's currently available in beta. Now, the general idea, of course, is when you've got the dashcam set up for parking recording, it's going to record not only when you're driving, but also when you're parked. By default, the only parking recording mode is going to be for impact detection to protect in case of, say, a hit and run. However, I found that in testing, it uses a non-buffered parking recording, meaning the dashcam is actually asleep. And then unfortunately, it takes like 9 or 10 seconds or so for the dashcam to wake up after it senses the impact and then begin recording. And in my opinion, that's way too long. In case of a hit and run, for example, if somebody hits your car and realizes what happened, they might be like, uh-oh, and they'll speed off for something, and telephoto or no telephoto, if that happens, your dash cam could actually miss the entire event. And so it has parking recording capabilities, but in my opinion, it's not actually that great. I would actually want maybe something implemented much better here. Now, over on Cansonic's website, they currently have a beta firmware that's available that's going to be adding time-lapse recording here on the dash cam. I tested that out as well, and it's basically set up to record at 1 FPS, recording 1 frame continuously and turning that into a video, video only with no audio. This will be the preferred option if you want more of like a continuous-ish recording from the dash cam. It doesn't do anything specific for impacts, so let's say maybe somebody hits your car, you can go frame by frame and try to get a frame of their face or whatever else or something, but it doesn't go and save specific video events in case of an impact. It just continues doing the whole time-lapse recording. Now, if you'd like some parking recording capabilities for your dash cam, there are a couple different hardwire cable options. They're designed to run to maybe the car's battery, for example, and then run power to the dash cam for parking recording when your car is off, and then turn off the dash cam before it drains the car battery too far. That way, of course, you can drive away next time you get back in your car. And if you want, you can use their basic 2-wire hardwire cable setup. This is going to rely on the dashcam's G sensor to go in and out of parking mode. And then to protect your car battery, it's designed to shut off the dashcam after it drains the car battery voltage down to 11.9 volts. Now that said, they also have an advanced hardwire kit, which I think is a much better solution. You see, this is a 3-wire kit with a third ignition-triggered wire that tells the dashcam when you're going in and out of parking mode. Plus, it's going to be adding a little box with a couple dip switches. That's going to allow you to do things like adjust the actual voltage cutoff levels of how far it drains your car battery, as well as to set a timer to choose how long the dashcam records before it turns off. There's also a physical switch if you want to turn parking recording on and off, and a little status LED there as well to let you know that the whole setup is getting power. And if you want to go this route, Cansonic has several different versions of the hardwire cable with different connectors and whatnot. Personally, I would choose the one with a single power output to run to the dashcam, and then with kind of that L-shaped connector. That way the cable can drop down from your headliner and then into the side of the mount itself. The dashcam actually has not one, but 2 different power input options. One's on the dashcam itself. The second one actually goes into the side of the mount. I prefer using this one, especially because the dashcam has this kind of like a quick release connector like that. And so if you want to pop the dashcam off the mount at any point and tuck it away, there's, like you can see, a little power pass-through right there for the power pins. And so I would kind of go that route. Just plug it in right there into the side of the mount, and then if for whatever reason you want to remove the dash cam or something, it makes it a little bit easier to do and not have to actually mess with the power cable in the dash cam itself. And then speaking of mounts, the dash cam actually comes with 2 different mounts in the box. One is going to be the suction cup mount. The second one is going to be a smaller double stick tape mount if you want something a little more compact and permanent. And then to power the dash cam, it's going to come with your traditional cigarette lighter cable. If you want a hardwire cable, that's going to be an optional extra. I'll link down in the description to the one that I recommend. And then as far as memory cards, the dashcam supports cards as large as 256 gigs. There's no cards included in the box, so you're going to want to pick one up yourself. On their website, they recommend the SanDisk cards, particularly the high endurance or the max endurance ones. And down in the description, I'll link you guys to the dashcam, memory card, different accessories, the rear dashcam if you want to pick that up as well, etc. And so as far as my thoughts here of this dashcam, for those of you who really prioritize capturing license plates, again, that really is a struggle for a dashcam that just has a single wide-angle lens. This one has that second telephoto lens. It's, again, really just optimized to help you capture license plates. There's really not a lot of dashcams that are designed specifically for that, and this is one of the few I can think of. I don't even know if there's any others off the shelf that you can buy that's going to give you this capability. I would still love to see some further image optimizations, particularly when it comes to things like maybe relying on higher shutter speeds to help knock out some motion blur. But with this dashcam, I think they're really just trying to keep things simple. It has parking recording capability, but it's not all that great in practice, so it's more of just like, check, we can do it. If you want it, maybe grab the beta firmware and run the time-lapse mode. The design, I wish it was a little bit smaller of a dash cam, and I wish they actually kind of went for like a stealth black design. It's kind of attention-grabbing. I like something a little bit more low-key and compact and doesn't scream like, hey, I'm a bright dash cam, you know? But again, if you're prioritizing something that has a second telephoto lens, there's not really many other options out there, and so I'm glad to see that they've improved this with an upgraded image sensor. They've upgraded the HDR to help it do a better job of actually capturing those license plates. They've added Wi-Fi to make it easier to configure the dash cam and grab that video footage and copy it to your phone. And so overall here with this Z3 Plus, I think it's a nice improvement over the original. That's a look here at this upgraded Cansonic UltraDash Z3 Plus Standard Edition. The name is quite a mouthful, but yeah, the dash cam that has a second telephoto lens on the side. Thanks so much for watching. Hope you guys are doing well. Subscribe if you haven't done so already. I'll see you all in the next video.